This TikTok prank just ended his life. What?
It's all from an old trend that everyone did growing up that has been slightly altered.
Oh my God, the nostalgia of that car pad. What the fuck? I had that exact same one. That shit was awesome.
TikTok in a more reckless way. So what happened? Well, this man shot an 18-year-old over a ding dong ditch video, and it's
what the fuck?
Way more than just another viral trend going wrong. This is one of those times that I'm having to report on something that's already gone too far and can't be taken back. So fair warning, this isn't the most fun video.
Tonight, an arrest for murder in Virginia after teens tell authorities.
In Virginia? I fucking lived there for years, man. They shoot motherfuckers over Ding Dong Ditch in Virginia. I'm Ding Dong Ditch in Virginia. This could have been me.
An age-old childhood prank, the Ding Dong Ditch, turned deadly.
Why the
a high
fuck
school
did he
senior
shoot
shot to death while doing the stunt. His friends say for a TikTok video. Now the homeowner, Tyler Chase Butler, arrested and accused of second-degree murder.
So let's set the scene.
Why did brother... Was it a white kid who got shot? What did the kid look like who got shot before I make this next comment?
It's 3 a.m. in Spotsylvania County, Virginia. A group of high schoolers are out filming a prank for TikTok, the kind your parents probably called harmless mischief, and the internet calls, I guess, a ding-dong ditch prank. And we all know how this prank goes. It's older than the internet. You knock on someone's door, run off, and the trend part involves, I guess, getting the footage and posting it for clout.
See, I did way worse shit. So when I was a kid, I did way worse shit than that. So I would ring the doorbell, and I would get my friends. So we would wait till it was like dusk, where it was like kind of dark. And then I would get my friend to ring the doorbell, and I would get him to wait until the person opened the door to run away. That way the person would come out of their house to like yell at them. And then while the person was yelling at them, I would go behind them into their house, and we would have a contest for who could steal the most out of their fridge, right? Biggest thing I ever got, a 12-pack of Mountain Dew. Yep. It was awesome. Dude, it was awesome. Like legit. Oh, bro, it was so cool. Like, it was so cool, man. Like throwing rocks at houses, throwing eggs at houses. Oh, man, I was a redneck through and through. Yep, and you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? Never once ever got caught. Never once ever got in any trouble ever. Like, I mean, these people were dumb, guys. These people were dumb. Like, they were super dumb. Don't do that, by the way, guys. I was like 12. I was probably like 14. It was somewhere in there. It was somewhere in theirs.
What could go wrong, right?
Yeah.
Well, apparently everything went wrong. 18-year-old Michael Bosworth Jr., a high school senior, had no idea this would be the last video he'd ever film.
Yeah, we just waiting to get shot.
Okay, yeah,
pretty much.
Nice too.
You know what? Anything
police.
for the content. Anything for the content.
So he was out with 2 friends at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
They hit a few houses in the neighborhood. Then they reached this home of a 27-year-old Tyler Chase Butler. Butler didn't just call the cops. He opened fire. According to the police, Bosworth was shot in the torso and later passed away in Washington Hospital. One friend was grazed by a bullet, and the last one got away. Butler was arrested days later and charged with second-degree murder, malicious wounding, then finally 2 counts of using a firearm in commission of a felony. No bond. He's currently sitting in Rappahannock Regional Jail right now. So overall, this is probably the worst possible way this prank could have gone. And look, I talk about how wrong...
I mean, I guess 2 got away. But think of the views, dude. I mean, oh my God, I can't believe he fucking died over this.
Pranks and this content can go here on...
They changed that shit from Ding Dong Ditch to Ding Dong Dead. That does not sound fun at all. But man, think of the clickbait.
This channel, but this one went beyond most of the videos I cover, because at the end of the day, a high school senior is gone, a man's in jail, and the rest of us are now asking, was this a tragic misunderstanding or a predictable result of viral stupidity? Well, let's walk through what happened. And you can see in the clip, this wasn't just ringing doorbells.
Yeah, that's not Ding Dong Ditch, to be completely fucking fair. Like, back in my day, we ring the doorbell 3 times and then you run. Not fucking make it sound like someone's trying to murder them, you know what I'm saying?
Witnesses say kids were kicking and banging on the door. Loud, aggressive, almost like they were trying to break in.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was talking about
100%.
earlier with the altered version of the Ding Dong Ditch prank that's turned into a reckless TikTok trend. Here's myself from the past explaining this. It's called the TikTok Door Kick Challenge. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of like ding dong ditching, as many of us grew up doing.
I mean, I will be real, and I'm just being completely unbiased here. If I heard that noise coming on my door, I would have 100% grabbed my gun. And I think any homeowner would do the same thing. When there's someone banging on your door that hard, immediately you grab your gun. Why wouldn't you? Right? Why wouldn't you? So this is rough. This is rough.
Fortunately, except they got creative and they added some property damage into the mix, because why not? So it is what it is, I guess. After it gets dark, you run full speed from the street at someone's door and jump kick it. So not only are you damaging the door and the frame, but also waking and scaring the crap out of the people inside. Then on top of that, this is also happening.
I mean, these pranks that make people fear for their lives, they're not pranks. It's just harassment, guys. Once again, I hate that somebody got shot over this and died, but like these pranks they're just going way too far, guys. They really are. Like you're hurting people, you're scaring people, you're harassing people. Pranks are only pranks when both people are having fun. Like one of my favorite pranks, why don't I just pull it up? Like this one. Very simple. A guy goes to fucking shampoo his head, but every single time he goes to wash off the shampoo, the guy adds more shampoo. So the shampoo never stops being on his head, right? Like, this is funny, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's not hurting anybody. It's just like, bro, just being like, where the hell all this shampoo coming from? Making someone think that they're about to experience robbers coming to the house, that's not a prank, that's harassment, and we all know it.
Happening in the US, and because of our Second Amendment, this can quickly become quite the extreme sport for the person doing this challenge. And you don't only have to worry about a potentially armed homeowner, but also the police, because obviously this is illegal. But that's
Absolutely.
not stopping this trend from being so big and viral that these pranks are now happening all over the US. And depending on what state you're based in, the range of your penalties can really vary here, because some people are getting hit with like a basic criminal mischief charge, and others with breaking and entering, because surprise, surprise, if you kick in someone's door at night, that's a charge. So let's play some of these clips because it's ridiculous. Yeah. The frame didn't like that one. Okay, so according to the witnesses, that happened. And unfortunately,
I mean, it's property damage. You know what I mean? Like, it's property damage.
Hinted here on my past video on how this could be a fatal challenge. Unfortunately for the guys who did it, it was. The homeowner didn't think it was funny. He thought it was a robbery. So he did what most people would do here in the US if they thought their house was being broken into. Grab a firearm.
Absolutely.
The Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office saying in a press release it was 3 a.m. Saturday morning when they got a call for a burglary in progress where shots were fired. Deputies found 2 people with gunshot wounds on the scene. 18-year-old Michael Bosworth Jr. was transported to a local hospital where he died just hours before his high school prom.
So Michael was hit in the torso. He later died in Mary Washington Hospital. Another teen was grazed and a third got away physically unharmed, but probably scarred for life. And this all happened hours before Bosworth's senior prom. His girlfriend wore his pink bow tie to the dance. That's not something anyone...
A black man shooting a white guy to death in 2025. Finally, the roles have been reversed, guys. Man. I'm going to be real. I actually don't blame the homeowner at all for opening fire on this shit, bro. I don't blame the guy at all for opening fire. Just straight up, like, if you think your life's in danger. I mean, it's very off-putting to have something that disturbing happening to your fucking house. It's very unfortunate. Like, it sucks. The kid was fucking stupid. The guy's now fucked for life because he thought he was in danger. And it's kind of like a really, really, really bad situation to be in.
Anyone should ever have to do. And like I said, Butler's now sitting in jail waiting for these charges to process. Overall, it's just an awful situation for everyone involved. Now, you might be asking, isn't Virginia a stand your ground state? Well, not quite. Virginia doesn't have a codified stand your ground law, but it does recognize something similar through what's called a castle doctrine.
Yeah, you ain't gonna do this shit in Texas. You do that shit in Texas, your head gonna get blown off, and ain't nobody gonna guilt you for it.
Basically, if someone breaks into your house and you have reasonable fear for your life, you can stand your ground and essentially eliminate the target. But the key here is you have to have a reasonable fear. But, and that is a big but, that legal protection gets really fuzzy if the threat is outside your home or if the person is retreating when you shoot. Because if Butler fired through the door or after they started running away, that might explain the second-degree charge. So let's break down the charges here. First, the second-degree murder charge here. The penalty in Virginia can be anywhere from like 5 to 40 years in prison, which...
Yeah, like if the guys came to the house, kicked the door in, they were running away, he opened the door, and then he shot them as they were running, that's not good. And I understand it. But if the guys were like repeatedly kicking in his door and then he fired a round through his door, okay, I understand it.
I mean, that's a terribly wide range. He also has a malicious wounding charge, which has a potential of 5 to 20 years in prison. And that one also has a mandatory minimum of 5 years in prison if a weapon was used. And finally, he has 2 counts of using a firearm in the commission of a felony. For a first-time offender, that's a 3-year mandatory minimum. And because Butler is charged with 2 counts, that's a minimum of 8 years just for the gun charges. And that has to be served back to back in addition to the sentences for the other felonies. So the total potential sentence here, if convicted on all counts, is a minimum of likely around 13 years and a maximum of 65 plus years, which is just, it's insane. I mean, that is a hell of a way to ruin your life in 2 seconds for both the shooter who might spend life in prison and the kid who lost his. Of course, final sentencing would really depend on plea deals, whether charges are dropped, the trial outcome, and how the judge chooses to structure the sentences. And some people are probably saying, good, well, he ended the life of a kid, or well, 18-year-old. But a lot of the internet are actually defending the shooter because he very well might have thought he was being robbed. Like, if you're jolted up.
That's where I'm at. I can see where you're at either way, but like, you got to understand that like, these pranks, they have consequences, and to be honest, it's only a matter of time. I mean, first it's pranksters. I mean, and secondly, it's like it's stream snipers. Like, let's be real. Like, in that situation where Emmy, Valkyrie, and Cinna were being harassed by that fucking stream sniper saying that I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you, would anybody really have blamed them if they shot the guy? It's only a matter of time until these people take it too far. Do go too far, and then they get hurt or worse, right? So it's just like, maybe we don't do things that are just typically harassment. And like, to say it how it is, when you fuck around, eventually you're gonna find out.
Up at 3 in the morning by a loud thud at your front door, you're most likely acting in a daze of flight or flight, and you're not fully awake yet. And then you just have all these like unknown details. Like, what if he had a few drinks before going to bed, was woken up in a jolt? Like, there's so much that could be there. But again, as I said, we don't have the full details. Obviously, there's a big difference in firing at your front door thinking you're being broken into versus...
Kids should be able to fuck around, though. It only applies to adults. The kid was 18. And secondly, like, when somebody does that and it makes someone fear for their life, you kind of have to accept the consequences.
Running after and firing on the people.
And kids should not be able to like throw Molotov cocktails, but oh, they're just kids, or like do property damage to houses. Oh, they're just kids, right? Like, punishment needs to happen. Now, obviously, I wish the person didn't fucking die, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, eventually you're going to fuck with the wrong person, and adults should take better care of their kids to make sure they don't do that.
People who are already fleeing. We just don't know what happened. Either way, it's just another story of a viral prank and an absolute tragedy. And it's frustrating to see this because
But once again, if the kids were running away and the guy opened the door, saw that they were running, and then shot them, that's really bad. But we still don't know the entire, details.
Covered this trend 6 months ago, where I even said, this is going to end horribly wrong. And it did. No matter who's at fault here, you don't kick people's doors in at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't kick people's doors in at all. Like, just don't do this trend. It is absolutely not worth the upside because ding dong ditching apparently just isn't what it used to be. It's not a giggling sprint down the driveway anymore. It's a forceful of drop kicks to the door at 3 in the morning in a country where, you know, being allowed to shoot someone at your door is on a state-by-state basis. This is not a prank. This is how you cut your life short. But unfortunately, I mean, this trend isn't going anywhere because there's more and more of these clips on TikTok going viral.
I'm sorry, guys. Seeing this shit makes my blood boil.
And look, I'm obviously trying to be sensitive to this because this is
How do you stop this though? Ban the users who are posting this TikTok, right? It's just recording harassment. It's recording property damage. It just ban them. It's that easy, right? Just, you know, cut the head of the snake off.
Awful tragedy. It really is. But I'm shocked someone hasn't been
You should not be able to popularize and post videos of you doing crimes, right? Just ban them. It's that easy.
Shot from this before now. Because look, Michael Boswell Jr., he wasn't a hardened criminal. He was a 3-sport athlete, lacrosse, football, wrestling, a senior at Massaponax High School with his whole life ahead of him. His girlfriend of 3 years wore his bow tie to prom. His classmates held...
Or homeowners need to add trapdoors And when a certain amount of pressure is applied on the door, the ground falls in. And then you keep the people who have done that as slaves. And then you make them rub the lotion on their skin. Yep. And then you peel their skin off and you wear their skin as a mask, right? That's pretty much what you have to do at that point.
To Virgil, the entire community is in mourning.
We need to normalize trapdoors and normalize nuclear bombs. Shadow Wizard Money Gang.
But no amount of tragedy erases the reality of what him and his friends did was dangerous. It was reckless. That was a stupid decision that cut his life short. So now we're kind of left in this gray zone, legally and morally. Was Butler's fear justified? If so, the charges may not hold. If not, yeah, his life is over basically. If the teens were already fleeing and if the shooting happened through the door, then we might be looking at a case of excessive force. But also, even if he shot through the door, I mean, there's still room for an argument there, even though that is a terrible judgment. But I mean, it's just such a shitty situation because who is operating at a logical state being jolted up at 3 in the morning?
Nobody.
So yeah, either way, before you rush to a judgment on either side, understand this is a messy, tragic mix of...
It's obviously a very gray area. I can understand both situations, but I think we can all agree that regardless of who was in the right, who was in the wrong, this is a horrible tragedy for both sides.
Bad judgment and viral clout chasing. I mean, it should be obvious by now, but please don't jump kick people's doors. We've seen pranksters get punched, arrested, and even shot at before, but now another one has passed away, and this probably won't be the last. Unfortunately, it's sad. This is a tragedy. I guess internet culture has just blurred the line between a joke and a threat, and how consequences of crossing that line are now becoming more and more serious. So, I mean, overall, if you're a teen thinking about trying this kind of thing, please don't. If you're a homeowner, you better know the law before you pull that trigger because both sides can lose everything in seconds. And I guess to everyone else, especially prank creators and IRL streamers, maybe rethink what you do for content. Stay safe, stay smart, and please, let's keep these pranks harmless at least, because I don't think anyone wants the outcome we had in today's video. But
when your content comes at the expense of others' well-being and happiness, I think you should reconsider what type of content you have. When you're putting legitimate people's lives in danger and just, committing crimes, maybe we just don't do that. Like, comment, subscribe. Great video, Tazi.